God damn. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Welcome. This is Alexa. What is the purpose of the visit?
Oh man.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way.
Okay.
Sorry, I cannot help you with that. I can take a message or assist with package delivery. What do you want to do?
Yo, can you imagine going to your door and Joe Budden is standing out there stark bucket naked? Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. As you may or may not know, before the new year, Joe Budden went missing from the Joe Budden podcast, and everybody was like, oh my goodness, where's Joe? Why isn't he sitting on the couch talking Ish with Ish and them? But then Joe reappeared, but interestingly enough, the news said that they were in New Jersey disappeared, and Joe and the gang were back in the basement where Joe first started the show years ago. Now, for everybody who doesn't know, they actually shoot the Joe Budden podcast in the apartment where Joe lives. So, the fact that Joe Budden was a no-show for his own show in which they shoot in the studio where he also lives was mad weird. Alright, so when Joe came back to the show, he needed to explain what was going on, why was he gone, and he also needed to explain why they were changing studios. So, Joe explained that the reason why he was gone for a minute is because he had a little sleepwalking incident, and he also said that the reason why they were no longer going to be in that studio is because it's against the residential rules to record podcasts in that particular complex.
I know everything, and I just kept my mouth closed.
I'll give you the punchline. Maybe I'll fill in the details of it later. I'll give you the punchline. I just sleptwalked somewhere that I shouldn't have sleptwalked.
What? That's what happened.
For real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know how I sleep.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh shit. But a nice naked ass. Good naked sleepwalking. Just did it again.
Oh shit. Shit was swinging, right?
Nah.
Oh shit. Show you on.
Oh, this shit. Nobody can go through this stuff but me. And what I'm going through personally is totally separate from why we not over there. The long and short of that is the bylaws of the town, because now the town is involved, says that you cannot film anything in any of those buildings. Now, you could choose to fight that and go to court and spend the money, but somebody over there got the town involved. For me, I didn't want none of my people to continue to be surveilled and scrutinized and treated
That was
a certain way.
Yeah.
I never want that.
Now, if you know Joe Budden and you've been following Joe's career, then you know darn well that Joe's good for giving you some of a story, like half of a story, 1/4 of a story, maybe a third of a story, but you're never going to get the full story from Joe, especially when that story has to do with Joe. So, thank goodness for the New Jersey Edgewater Police Department, because they decided the other day that they were going to give us the full story. And this is what happened.
Church! Joe Budden has been charged with lewd conduct after embracing his inner emperor's new groove. Now, for all of y'all that had lives and couldn't keep up, on the morning of December 4th, a resident at an apartment complex was notified to motion on their Ring camera. And what did they see? 44-year-old Joe Budden in his birthday suit in the hallway trying to gain access to their apartment door utilizing the keypad. So they swiftly called the law. Now, Joe wasn't able to gain access to their apartment and he eventually retreated to his own across the hallway. But by that time, the law had already been called, and when they showed up, I guess after some explanation, they did not arrest him, but they did charge him with lewdness. Now, Joe has admitted on his own podcast that he suffers from sleepwalking. So in my mind, this is what happened. Budden. Sometime during the night, the sleepwalking took hold. He ended up in the hallway, confused, went to the wrong door, and y'all know the rest. In my opinion, one time is a fluke, twice is a pattern, and by 5 it's a lifestyle. But in this situation, it hits a bit different when the apartment he was trying to gain access to had a resident and 2 juvenile daughters. The optics just look very bad, alright? Now, Joe has said that he is saddened that this information has come to light, given that he has a cross complaint against the resident that filed the charges on him. And he feels that instead of focusing on that, the police department decided to put this information out there on him for some free publicity off of his back. Now, Joe, look. If I'm a 44-year-old man that suffers from sleepwalking and I like to sleep in the buff, I would implore you to invest in some handcuffs, alright? And maybe handcuff your ass to that bedpost next time, and hopefully the motion of you trying to get away will jar your ass awake the next time this happens, because I don't care how you slice it, a 44-year-old black man, nude naked in the buff, in the hallway, trying to gain access to an apartment door with a resident and 2 juvenile daughters behind it, ain't a good look, no way. Now, y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about this situation, and we'll talk later.
Now, as you can see, while some people believe that Joe Budden is telling a 100% absolute truth about his sleepwalking, and they believe that that's why he ended up at his neighbor's door, some other people are not so sure, and they're sort of looking at Joe Budden with the side eye because they believe that Joe Budden is full of ish, and that this move right here is right out of the Diddler's playbook. I mean, they're looking at Joe like Quavo and Offset were looking at Joe after he dropped the mic on him back in the day.
So I'm glad they succeeded.
Hey man, you guys are nominated tonight. Have a good show.
Oh my goodness, that never gets old. Anyhow, after people on X heard about Joe Budden out here sleepwalking naked, a whole bunch of people weighed in, and one person was like, my money's on drunk, not sleep. And then after that, somebody else came through and was like, sleepwalking naked is diabolical, bro on that cocaina. And then after that, somebody else came through and was like, sleepwalking, huh? Bro a predator. And then last but not least, somebody else was like, there's too many weird stories around Joe, way too many to ignore the pattern. Listen, let me know down below. When it comes to Joe, do you see certain patterns? And also, when it comes to the sleepwalking incident, do you think that he was actually sleepwalking? Or do you agree with some of the people in the comment section who were like, sauce, looks like something else is going on here. This ninja is over there twirling on something.
What do you guys think?
Let me know in the comments. Now, after New Jersey's Edgewater Police dropped the press release the other day letting everybody know that Joe Budden was out there exposing himself, Joe Budden and his attorneys were like, you know something? This right here is starting to look a whole lot like racism.
Now, the police were called and he was not arrested that day, but I'm guessing the person whose apartment it was finally decided that they could not live with the trauma of seeing that man naked in front of their house. I mean, let's be honest, Joe Budden is a big dude, all right? I would be a little traumatized by that too. Now, Joe Budden and his team have responded, saying that this charge by the police department is racially motivated. Some people are citing the fact that the incident happened on December 4th, but the press release did not get released until December 30th. So why would they take almost a month to release that sort of information? They're saying it has to do with his celebrity status and the fact that he's African American, and there may be past tension with this neighbor. Look, I do not doubt that law enforcement is 100% prejudiced against black people. But dog, they got you on video naked. I mean, it's pretty clear cut. You was naked in front of that dude's house. people have already made AI photos depicting the situation. So, I mean, Joe Budden is getting cooked online, and you're gonna get cooked online regardless of the situation. It also doesn't help that out of nowhere, Joe Budden went back to his original studio, which sparked a lot of speculation as to what was going on and why they weren't in their big podcast room that they've been in for the last 2 years. So yes, Joe Budden has a weird case, and I am worried that this might open some floodgates. All right, we might end up finding out more information, because this is not the first time we have heard about Joe Budden sleepwalking without clothes on. He's actually told stories about it in the past.
So we were going to Miami, me and Ian, and he said, yo, where you want to stay at? We just get the fucking 2-3 bedroom and be fine. And I just remember going to bed. I didn't even cut a TV on. So I woke up and I went to look for my phone. And then I looked around some more. This ain't my room.
Oh shit.
Ian's room.
Hey yo.
So I gathered myself.
Where was Ian?
And I walk out to the hallway. He said, buddy,
You woke up in the middle of the night?
Man, Lord's in my room.
But you got into bed with me.
oh yeah, because Ian was laying on the living room with a blanket.
Now, before I share my personal opinion on this whole Joe Budden situation, HQK from TikTok has a little advice that he wants to give to Joe.
Hey, this message is for Joe Budden. If you're not Joe Budden, you can scroll on right by. So, maybe if you know you're prone to sleepwalking, you probably shouldn't sleep naked. Sounds like a pretty simple formula to me. That's it. I have nothing else. That's the solution to this whole thing.
Listen, this is what I think. I think that Joe Budden and his attorneys better pump it down when it comes to all of this discrimination talk against the Edgewater police. And I'm gonna tell you why. The neighbors and the Edgewater police have HD footage of Joe Budden standing at the neighbor's door, stark bucket naked with his little Joe Budden sticking out, looking like he has an outie belly button. Now, in their press release, the Edgewater police made sure to emphasize the fact that the neighbor has 2 juvenile daughters who saw Joe on a Ring doorbell in his birthday suit trying to gain entry into their residence in the wee hours of the morning while they were home. Alright, so although Joe has stated publicly in the past on his podcast that he does have issues with sleepwalking, if Joe hasn't done official sleep studies, gotten a few EEGs, and or if he hasn't gotten paperwork from his neurologist to prove that he does indeed suffer from this condition, the police can easily say, okay Joe, since you want to play the race card, we're no longer going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Screw that sleepwalking excuse. Instead, we're going to treat you like a level 1 offender, and we're getting ready to lock you up behind bars for potentially being a danger to minors. Now, is it possible that the Edgewater police put that information out there because Joe Budden is black and he's also a celebrity? Of course. But what Joe Budden and his attorneys need to understand is that when the neighbors have the Ring doorbell footage of you in the middle of the hallway stark bucket naked looking like you're the midnight flasher, the deck is stacked against you, and right now may not be the best time to get into a pissing contest with the police, because if those police in Edgewater, New Jersey decide to put the spin on you, it's a wrap. Now, in Joe Budden's defense, doctors do say that sleepwalkers are capable of anything, including driving cars, getting busy, and even murking people out in these streets. So, it's absolutely possible and plausible that Joe really didn't know what he was doing when he was bucket naked out in that hallway trying to get into his neighbor's house. Watch this.
Is it safe to wake up a sleepwalker? People who sleepwalk sometimes don't just walk around, they can drive cars, use power tools, have sex, even kill people. Yeah, sleepwalking murder is a real thing, so you should definitely wake up a sleepwalker. It won't do them any harm. But if you plan on waking up these zombies, be warned, they may be disoriented and slightly confused and maybe even violent, so approach with caution, especially if they have a spoon.
Listen, let me know something. What would you do if you were chilling in your crib with your kids, and then the doorbell rang, and then the doorknob started turning, and when you looked on your Ring doorbell, you saw Joe Budden standing outside in his birthday suit trying to get into your house? Let me know what your first response would be in the comments. And also, let me know, do Do you think that right now is the right time for Joe Budden to be running around talking about the Edgewater police are mad racist, and the only reason that they put this information out there is because he's a black man who's a celebrity? Do you think that now's the right time, or is now the time for Joe to go back to sleep? Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.